Dream of the Red Chamber, Chapter 13.
So let's trace this. Let's start with the lore, right from that first greeting.
Yeah.
The scene starts, Jie shows up, and Shifeng calls out to her servant, quickly, invite him in. The source says he is just beaming, totally delighted, already flattering her.
He's already playing the part of a suitor, not some distant cousin.
Totally.
And Shifeng's reaction is just pure performance. She lays the groundwork with what the text calls false warmth.
False warmth. Yeah, I love that phrase.
She offers him tea, a seat. And then she plays the part of the lonely, bored wife. She even says something like, oh, maybe her husband was delayed by someone on the road.
Which is the perfect opening for Jie.
It's a perfect opening. He jumps right in, offering to help, to be there for her.
And she just leans into it. She sighs about how she just wants someone to talk to relieve her gloom. And of course, he promises to come every day if that's what she needs. The hook is set.
But what really seals it for him, what makes him believe this is real, is the flattery. It's so specific.
What does she say again?
She tells him, you are truly a sensible person, far superior to Jie and the others. And then she calls them, get this, two confused worms who do not understand the human heart.
Wow. So she's not just praising him, she's elevating him above his entire peer group. For a nobody like him, that must have been like a drug.
It's intoxicating. And the text shows us his physical reaction. He starts scratching his ears and rubbing his cheeks.
Just pure, uncontrollable delight.
It's so much that he completely forgets himself.
Yeah.
He actually starts moving closer to her, looking at her purse, her rings.
Like he's already picturing them as his?
Exactly. And when she gently pushes back, saying something like, be more respectful, don't let the maids laugh, his interpretation of that is just incredible.
This is the key psychological detail, right?
It's everything. The text says he hears her caution as if it were Buddhist words or an imperial decree.
So not a warning.
Not at all. He hears it as absolute infallible truth, a secret command from a goddess or an emperor. He thinks it's a code, a signal that their feelings are mutual, and they just need to be secret about it.
He's trapped in his own interpretation before he's even in the physical trap.
But it's exactly.
Yeah.
And with his ego totally locked in, she sets the bait. She whispers the instructions.
Go now, but wait for me quietly in the West Cross Hall tonight, after curfew.
And she promises total privacy. She'll get rid of the watchman, lock the doors. He leaves thinking he's about to get a rare treasure.
He has no idea. The desire just makes him completely illogical.
So he does it. He sneaks into this huge dark mansion, finds the cross hall, and the door leading towards the matriarch's quarters, the seat of authority.
Jiamu's side.
Right. It's already locked. So he's waiting there, probably full of nervous excitement.
And then he hears it.
Yeah. That sound. The source gives us the actual onomatopoeia.
The clunk.
The heavy clunk of the other door, the eastern door, locking shut. And in that second, he knows.
He's trapped. The text is so clear about this, it's inescapable. The doors are locked like an iron bucket.
And the walls on either side are too high to climb. He's sealed in this passageway that's now become a freezer.
And we really have to stress the setting here. It's the 12th month. This is late winter, the absolute coldest time of the year.
This isn't just uncomfortable. This is torture by exposure.
The description really turns the environment into a weapon. The wind is piercing, the cold invades the skin and cracks the bones.
He's in there all night, just freezing. It's so calculated.
Yeah.
It's meant to cause the maximum amount of suffering without, actually killing him on the spot.
The message has to be painful.
Exactly. So he just endures hours of this, hugging himself, trying to stay alive. He only gets out the next morning when some old woman who has no idea what's going on just happens to open the gate.
And he just bolts, runs home before anyone else is awake, totally wrecked.
But it's not over.
Yeah.
It's not even close to over. He gets home and walks right into another punishment.
His grandfather, Jie, the strict tutor.
Right. He's been up all night, worried, sick. But he assumes the usual stuff, gambling, drinking, brothels.
He has no idea about the real disaster. So Jie lies, says he stayed at his uncle's.
And the grandfather doesn't buy it for a second. The punishment is immediate and it's severe. It just compounds the trauma.
It's 30 or 40 strokes of the rod.
A serious beating. Then he's forbidden to eat. And this is the really cruel part. He's forced to kneel outside in the cold.
The same cold that almost killed him?
The very same. Kneeling there, reading his lessons, to make up for 10 days of misstudy.
So let's just recap the suffering. Nearly frozen to death, violently beaten, starved, and then forced back out into the cold. Any sane person would connect the dots back to Shifeng.
You would think. But this is the core of his tragedy. This is what's so fascinating and so appalling. After all of that, the source says his heart was still unrepentant.
Unbelievable.
He never once suspects her. He thinks it was all just bad luck, getting caught by his grandfather.
So his delusion is actually stronger than the physical reality of his suffering.
It's completely walled off from reality. His desire is a self-sustaining fantasy.
So what happens? He waits a couple of days and then just goes right back to her.
Just 2 days later, he's back. And she, of course, plays her part perfectly. She pretends to be annoyed that he broke the promise by not showing up.
And he falls for it again.
He falls for it so hard. He's swearing his devotion even more fiercely this time. And this is when Xie Feng realizes, okay, plan A didn't work. Freezing him and getting him beaten wasn't enough.
It wasn't a deterrent. It just made him think he needed to be more careful.
Exactly. So the source says she decides she needs a different scheme to make him realize his mistake.
The cold and the beating were just phase one.
Phase one failed. So she sets the second trap. And this time, the stakes are way higher. She tells him to meet her in an empty room in a small corridor, right behind her own quarters.
Much more intimate, much more dangerous.
An offer he can't possibly refuse. He's ecstatic.
Mm-hmm.
And his reply is just. It's the final nail in his coffin. He says, I will come, even if it means death.
And he means it.
He means it.
Yeah.
It's prophetic. Xie Feng immediately starting to organize. The text uses military language. Deploying troops and assigning generals.
Yeah. She's not just setting a trap anymore. She's planning a full-scale operation, something much worse than a night in the cold. So he's waiting in this dark, secluded room in an alleyway.
And he's just frantic. The text literally calls him an ant on a hot pot.
Yeah, a perfect description. He waits until the lamps are lit, his grandfather is asleep, and he's just completely on edge.
And that desperation, it just blinds him. He sees a figure in the dark, assumes it has to be Xie Feng, and the source says he attacks like a hungry tiger.
It's so aggressive. He just grabs the person, throws him onto the kang, the heat of bed, and he starts shouting these bizarre terms of endearment like, dear mother, dear father. It's really unsettling.
And then, bam, a light flashes.
It's held by another clan member, Jia Kang, and the person on the bed is Jia Rong.
Oh, the humiliation must have been absolute. The source says he was mortified beyond measure.
And you have to remember, Jia Kang and Jia Rong are basically Xie Feng's hired muscle here. They're known troublemakers. This was a coordinated ambush.
A complete setup. And they don't waste a second, do they? They immediately pivot from the humiliation to blackmail.
Immediately, Jia Kang tells him, oh, Xie Feng already told the madam you were harassing her.
Right, that this whole meeting was her tactic to escape from him.
Which is a brilliant lie. He says the madam fainted from rage and that he was sent to drag Jia Rui in front of her.
So Jia Rui is trapped. He has to beg.
He does. And to avoid total ruin, Jia Kang demands a written contract, an IOU, disguised as a gambling debt for 50 taels of silver.
50 taels. And he writes it, thinking that's the end of it.
But it's not.
Not even close. Because Jia Rong then steps up and says, well, I might still tell the clan unless you write me an IOU.
For another 50 taels. So in the space of, 5 minutes, he's humiliated, assaulted someone by mistake, and is now 100 taels in debt to these two guys.
It's just, it's brutal. But the humiliation for the night, it's not even over.
No. They then pretend to help him escape. They say, oh, the main gates are locked. You can't get out that way. We'll have to scout the back door.
They tell him to hide.
In the worst possible place. They tell him to crawl into this little nest or hole under the main stone steps, and whatever you do, do not make a sound.
He's basically complicit in his own degradation at this point. He's so scared, he just does it.
And this is where it gets disgusting.
It really does. While he's hiding there, freezing, he hears this loud sound, ah.
And a full chamber pot of urine and feces is just dumped right on his head, drenches him completely.
He screams, but then he covers his mouth because he's still terrified of being discovered, so he's just left there covered in filth, shivering in the cold.
It's the ultimate act of dehumanization. And when Jia Kang finally comes back, Jia Rui is so ashamed he has to lie to his own gatekeepers. He tells them he stumbled and fell in the latrine.
He can't even admit what happened to him. And what's so tragic, so psychologically telling, is what happens next. The source says that even after all that, he still can't stop thinking about her.
Right. He hates her for the humiliation, but then his very next thought is of her beauty. And he lies awake all night wanting her. The desire is just completely overriding everything else.
That obsession becomes the root of his physical sickness, doesn't it?
It really does. He starts avoiding the wrong mansion, obviously, but now he's got Jia Kyung and Jia Rong chasing him for the 100 tael.
Which he doesn't have.
Exactly. So you have that stress, plus his intense study schedule, plus the fact that he's unmarried and, as the source puts it, is relieving his desires for Shifeng through self-abuse.
And you add the 2 nights of being exposed to the freezing cold. It's a perfect storm.
A perfect storm for a fatal illness. And the symptoms are described in really gruesome detail. A swollen abdomen, loss of taste, his legs feel like cotton, his eyes burn.
Night fevers, daytime fatigue, seminal emissions. His body's just shutting down, literally draining itself of life.
And it culminates in him coughing up blood. He's dying, and he knows it. They give him pounds and pounds of heavy-duty traditional medicines, cinnamon bark, aconite, turtle shell, but nothing works.
Because the sickness isn't really physical, is it?
No, it's a sickness of the spirit, a karmic fixation, as the text implies. And right when he's at his lowest, Shifeng delivers one last unbelievably cruel blow.
The solitary ginseng soup.
The solitary ginseng soup. His guardian is desperate. It's this incredibly precious life-saving remedy. Wang Furen asks Shifeng to give them 2 ounces for him.
And she just lies outright.
Instantly. Said it's all gone, sorry. Then, when she's pressed, she says, okay, I'll see what I can find. And she sends over just the dregs, a few scraps and dust from the bottom of the tin.
But, and this is the key part, she reports back to Wang Furen that she graciously gathered a full 2 ounces for him.
So she lets him die while making sure everyone thinks she's a saint. Her reputation stays completely clean. It's master-level manipulation, even on his deathbed.
It's pure evil. And with all hope lost, that's when the supernatural element enters the story.
Right. This lame Taoist priest, a Trian, just appears out of nowhere, and he says he can cure an illness of karmic debt.
Which is exactly what Jia Rui has. So he's desperate. He begs the man for help.
And the Taoist doesn't give him a potion. He gives him an object, a double-sided mirror called the Fengjie Baojian, the Wind Moon mirror.
And this isn't just any mirror. It's from the illusory realm of Great Void, made by a fairy to cure evil thoughts and reckless movements.
Now, this is the absolute core of the chapter. The Taoist gives him one rule, one simple, non-negotiable command for his survival, he says.
Never look at the front, only look at the back.
That's it. His life or death depends on following that one instruction.
And of course he doesn't.
Of course not. He tries the back first, like he was told, and what he sees is a skull.
A direct reflection of his own mortality.
And it terrifies him. He curses the Taoist for trying to scare him and immediately covers it up. He rejects the truth.
And because he rejects the truth, he immediately does what he was told not to do. He flips the mirror over.
And on the front, he sees Shifeng, standing there, beckoning him to come to her.
He chooses the illusion, and he feels himself literally float into the mirror where he has sex with her image. Then he's sent back out and he wakes up sweating, having ejaculated on the bed. So the physical toll is real, even if the experience is an illusion.
Exactly. But it's not enough. The desire is an addiction now. He's unsatisfied, so he immediately flips the mirror back to the front and goes in again.
And this repeats, 3 or 4 times?
3 or 4 times. He is literally killing himself with this illusion, draining the last of his life force into the mirror.
Until the final time.
Yeah.
As he tries to leave the mirror, 2 figures appear with iron chains, and they drag him away.
And his last words are him begging to take the mirror with him. Let me take the mirror before I go. Even at the moment of death, he's clinging to the addiction.
His attendant see the mirror fall from his hand, and he's gone. He's dead, lying in a pool of his own cold semen. It's just the most pathetic, tragic end imaginable.
And in their grief, his family tries to burn the mirror, calling it a demonic mirror.
But the mirror actually cries out.
It does. It says, "Who told you to look at the front? You mistook the false for the true. Why burn me?" And then the Taoist rushes back in, snatches the mirror, and vanishes.
The lesson is so clear. The mirror wasn't the demon. Jia Rui's choice was.
Precisely. And just to wrap up the narrative here, there's a quick but important shift. Despite his family's poverty, the clan steps up. Jia Shi, Jia Zhang, Jia Zhen, they all chip in 20 taels for a proper funeral.
It's a small detail, but it shows the clan structure is still functioning, even around this tragedy, and then the story immediately pivots.
Right. The very next thing we learn is that a letter arrives from Lin Dayu's father. He's gravely ill, and he wants her to come home to Yangzhou. So Jiamu, worried, sends Jia Lian to go with her.
Which sets up the next major arc of the novel.
Yeah.
But let's go back to that mirror for a second, the lesson of the Fengjie Baojian.
I mean, it's so direct. It offered him two paths. The back of the mirror, the skull, was the path to life because it was reality. It was a warning.
Look at death, confront your mortality, and save yourself.
Exactly. And the front, the beautiful image of Shifeng was the path to death because it fed his delusion. His tragedy was that he willingly, actively chose the lie because it was more pleasant than the truth. And it leaves you with a pretty profound question, doesn't it? If you were given a tool like that, a mirror that showed you the gruesome, debilitating reality of your worst impulses on one side,
and on the other, the beautiful temporary illusion that they create, would you actually have the discipline to only look at the difficult truth?